Interesting speech to listen to. It's about mediation, and for that I call on the stage and I leave the mic to Professor Giuseppe De Palo. Balla lei allora, you dance instead of me.
And what we can do is essentially two things. I was saying you can go for a negotiated solution, vis-a-vis, face-to-face, and or with the assistance of outside counsel. Or you can pursue the traditional avenues of arbitration or litigation. The entire ADR, alternative dispute resolution phenomenon, has been predicated upon a notion that such a menu of options, negotiation, litigation, and arbitration, is not enough. And we should strive, we should aim for a more sophisticated system. And what I'm trying to introduce to you before we get into the mediation room, I promise I will do that, is to explain you a system that we might find preferable. And by we, I mean we users of the justice systems, citizens, companies, professors, academics, and of course, banks in this particular respect. When we move from here to here, as you can see, the vertical line, brown line remains, but what we do have that something appears in between negotiation, direct negotiation, and what we called before the adjudicative processes where a decision is rendered, arbitration and litigation. The way to look into this continuum, into the system, is that in a perfect system, in a system that works, in an ideal system, perhaps we want the solution to be proportionate to the issue. When you get a headache, you go to the pharmacy. If that doesn't work, you go to the doctor to get a more important remedy. If that doesn't work either, you probably go to a specialized doctor in migraine. If that doesn't work either, perhaps you go to the neurosurgeon, okay? So basically, in a system that works, every dispute should enter at the left of the spectrum and move from left to right until the right solution is found. One way to look at this complicated, and I hope it's the last complicated slide for today and this hour, is that as the litigants, the justice system users, we move from left to right in this continuum, the parties, the owners of the disputes, those who are to live with the consequences of whatever solution is found, lose two things: control over process and control over outcomes. From the left to right, you see this happening. Think about negotiation. Where we meet, what we talk about it, in whose presence, with what consequences. Should we do it again? When we reschedule, is up to us to decide. The process is made and owned by the parties. If you look at the opposite of the spectrum, you find the civil trial. Who tells you what the steps of the resolution process are? Normally the codes of civil procedure. So the process is pretty much defined. We can't change it too much. We can change a few things, but not too much. The same is true for arbitration, which is being regulated, as you know, in either code of civil procedures or in special statutes. And the same is true, of course, for the outcome. We cannot negotiate the outcome with a judge. When we talk about ADR, mediation is what is called and referred to like the 800-pound gorilla. But it's not the only process. There are many such processes. For simplicity's sake, let's stick to that, okay? So the question becomes, why is it that we need something in between negotiation and litigation? Here's what the European directive says about mediation. And again, this is very likely to become law pretty soon, June 2008. A process where two parties try to find a solution on a voluntary basis with the assistance of a neutral party. So is a negotiation, if you will, assisted by a third party. Why should we engage this third-party neutral? What's the value added of getting a person on board? Aren't we paying for our in-house lawyers and outside counsel? What's the economic viability? Why would the legislature, whether in the European Union or the Italian Parliament, want us to do more of this stuff? I think it's a kind of dry definition. Let's have a mediator now. Hopefully sound will work. Tell us what he thinks is his job.
Good morning.